Hi, yesterday I had a very interesting interview. I will not talk about the interview, but I would like to talk about one of the points which I discussed with the interviewer. So the interviewer asked me if I worked before in environment where we push the code directly from the source code to production, which means that we don't have a staging environment and development environment, and we don't have testing and so on. So actually, I work on such environment, and I am trying now even to build environment with this mode of operation. Uh, so how do I build this mode of operation? What are the requirements to make this mode of operation success, and why it is needed? So I will explain the case I have. So we have a mobile app which it is deployed for the public. So mobile, it's a free mobile app. Everybody can just download, install the app, and use it. Okay, so you have um, more than million user can use the app. Okay, there is no limitation. You don't have a limit. Okay, and also you have to have a quick response. So you push the app and you deploy it, and then you have a feedback, you work on fixing it, and you push again. So you have to have a short time to delivery from writing the source code to push to the app store and people start use the app. It should be short. This time should be short. Okay, those are the main reasons why we consider this approach, that we need to be quick, we need to deliver very fast. And we have a lot of people are using the app, which means that you will not have this time to think that, okay, let's test the app in our local machine and so on. We already have a huge amount, a lot of users which are already using the app and testing the app. So there is no point of having a QA team. Okay, there is no point. But what are they going to do right now? Let me give you a real example. So we have a release which we push to the users, and the users come up with around 15 bug we need to resolve. Okay, and the QA also was testing, and guess what? QA give us like almost half of this number or less than that. And already the issues the QA reported was included on those 15 bug we received from the user. So the QA almost have no rule, he doesn't fit on the context. Okay, there is no point of adding a QA. This is a case which is okay. We need to work on a different mode which fit our requirement, which we already have a lot of users. They are reporting issues. They are giving us work to do, and we need to have a short time to deliver those issues, fix them, and deliver them. Okay, this is the situation. Okay, so how do we shorten the time to delivery? Short answer is we remove all the obstacles between writing code to the user to start to use the app, to deployment and user to start to use the app. Okay, this is the short answer. But to do that, we have some stuff to set up, some tools to set up to help us. Okay, I will mention the most important tools we use. I'll start first from the dev side. From the dev side, we start to focus more on testing. So the testing and the quality have to go through three stages. First stage is developer himself. He writes the code, he tests the code either manually or he automates the test, whatever easy for him. Sometimes manual testing is more quick and it's easier, especially if it's a UI. Or it's important that we need to automate this part. So we start to write automation. We automate the test. Okay. So it depends on the situation. Either you write a test, automated test, or you test it manually. But you have to verify that you test the feature. Okay, the way we verify it was either you record a video or you write the test cases, the automated test. Okay, or you show a snapshot. Either record a video, show a snapshot. it's not about you showing a snapshot or recording a video that it will guarantee the quality, but it's more of when you are recording, you are testing your work. This is the whole idea, that when you're recording the video or taking a snapshot, you are testing your work, okay? And again, if you are writing unit test, again, you are testing your work when you are writing a unit test, okay, or integration test or end-to-end test, whatever the automation fit the context, okay. There are some tools which help, especially on the UI, to do the test. I highly recommend storybooks. I talk about storybooks in another video. Storybooks have a test automation for the UI. Basically you compare snapshots. So you take snapshot from one UI and then you compare it when there is a changes, and then you have to manually approve the UI that this is what we want, okay. I will not talk more details. I will not talk about details regarding to storybooks, but you can check it out. And also I have the other video. I talk about how to build a design system using storybooks and Figma. You can go back to it, but this is one of the ways to help to guarantee quality, okay, and test automation and so on. Of course, you have to be able to set up the environment as well, okay. Without setting up the environment in local machine, okay, you will not be able to test your work. For example, if you are using MongoDB, if now you are not able to start MongoDB locally and fill it with some data, you have to have test data, you seed it with some test data, you will not be able to test your application in your local machine, okay. So this is one of the important parameters to guarantee quality. You have to be able to test the application in your local machine. Sometimes the environment is too complicated. At least you be able to start any component you will need. You don't have to start the whole environment, but you can start the components you need. This situation, I highly recommend to have Dockers, and you have Kubernetes and so on. This is the tool which I found it really helped too much to start the environment locally, and very easily you can very easily test it, okay. So you can do Docker containers, you can make a Kubernetes if it's too complex, you can make a Kubernetes, and then you give the development team the capability to start their environment very easily and test their work. This is very important to make this setup work successfully. If the development team, they are not able to start the application locally and test their work, the system will not succeed. And again, it's not a must they start all the application if it's too complex, but they have to start at least what they are able to work in. For example, a UI and the backend, even it's enough, okay, the backend. So they don't have to start everything, but at least when they want to start or they need to start one of the application or services, they are able to do it independently, okay. It's very critical. Those highlighted points have a lot of small details when you dig on them. For example, setting up the environment, testing, and even screenshots, how you guarantee quality. It's a huge effort to guarantee quality, and you guarantee that when something is delivered, it have been tested, and at least it cover the happy path, and the happy scenarios, okay. So this is one important stage to start developing the software and delivering it directly to production. The checks and quality checks on the local machines, manual automation testing, and also recording videos, screenshots, verifying, and so on. All those are important part of the story. Then we move to the next part when we are opening the BR. When you open the BR, you must have, again, on the pipeline, CI should be set up. The CI, the continuous integration pipeline, should be set up so that you can make the required checks again. Again, this is another level of check where you will build the code, make sure that it's working, it's compiling. You have to make sure that the BR is not managed unless the code owner check the code and make sure, yeah, this code will not mess up huge things, or there is no other important consideration and so on. And also you have to make sure that you have at least run the test cases and so on. So this is very important. The pipeline should be set up again to make another check, a second check. And in the review cycle, we must have some standard somehow to make sure that the code quality is at a certain level. Okay, that's number two, the review cycle. Okay, and the pipelines. This is the second stage for guarantee quality. You push to the next stage. Next stage, that releasing. Okay, yeah, you move directly from the source code from from the development machine to production. But again, you have to have a planned release. Okay, you have to have a release. And when you have a release, you must again have another cycle of check to make sure that the package, what we package on this release, it's going to work together. Okay, so you have to, again, another check when you are releasing. Okay, so the person who will release, you make sure that you run the test case, everything is building and everything is working as expected. And one small details about the release, in our case, in this case, the branching we will use, it's very simple. Okay, you will have a master branch, okay, where you push all the code, and then you will tag the release, and that's all. Okay, you will tag the release. There is another steps required to roll back, but I will talk about that during our discussion. But for now, to push a release, to push a new feature, you have to only have a master, and then you tag the master to push to production. Okay, that's what you need. Cool. So after you push to production, now you already finish, you package and you release, you tag the release, and you push to production. So when you push to production, you have again to have another check. Okay, the other check should be that there should be a soft launch group, people who will or user acceptance test, the product team. They start to make sure that the feature they asked for, it's already working. And again, the dev team have again to make sure that their work is deployed and it's working in production. Okay, so you have to do manual test maybe on this case, or if there is automation, it's fine, you can do automation in production, so to make sure that the feature is delivered to production as expected. That's one thing. The other thing is you have to have a monitoring tool. Monitoring tools is very important to make sure that when you are delivering and when it's for the public, there is no disaster. It's very important to have the monitoring tool which will evaluate if this deployment it succeed or fail. And you have to invest on the monitoring tools in this case. So the monitoring tool will give you this capability that you can investigate, make sure that there is no disaster, make sure that the deployment is working as expected. The dev team will test again, and the product team will test again to make sure that the feature is working as expected, or this is what they ask for. Okay, that's another cycle of check. And then you have the users themselves. For the user to check, you need a tool to monitor what the user are doing on the website or the app or the platform. Something like UXCam. I talked about UXCam before in one of the videos. Or any other tools, not a must. Mixpanel, I think that there is this one of the other tools, for example, or Full Story. There are many tools. You monitor the user and you see how they are using the app, and if there is any problems, okay, if there is any issues, you have to monitor the crashes, the screen, for example, if it froze or something, or exceptions and so on. So this is one important tool in your toolbox, again, to monitor how the user is using the app, and if there is any issues, you discover them. Another tool also you have to consider is a reporting tool. You have to give the user the ability to report. For example, we use many projects in Instabug so that the user can report the issue for you so that you can fix it. You can investigate and see what's wrong and you start to fix it. That's a very important tool. So with those two tools, you can get a feedback from them, because the real tester for your system will be the users themselves. You don't have a QA team. you are too lean. So the real tester will be the users themselves. Okay, so it's very important to have a channel between you and the users. Okay, plus those tools, of course, you have to be able to communicate with the users, asking for their feedback. It will be very successful if you have a soft launch, a small group of users which try the app in the beta release and give you a feedback. You can directly communicate with those those small group of user which you will do soft launch for them, and then you get the feedback from them. Usually what we do is you don't roll to all the user 100% of the user all the features. Okay, you usually roll maybe 50%, 20%, and so on. And this take me another tool also. It is you need a tool to feature flag. What is feature flag? Feature flag is just a switch to switch on, switch off, to switch on, switch off the feature you're delivering. Okay, and you must consider that during the development. You must consider that when you are delivering, for example, a new feature, you have to make sure that it is backward compatibility. If we switch the feature on, it will work. If we switch it off, it will not mess up anything. Okay, you have to make sure that you have to put that in mind. The challenge I saw to build this small tiny detail is the data. I work in a project, the data was a mess. Was the data we had taken around 6 months, 1 year to fix the data because of this tiny detail that we did not consider how we will migrate the data. And if there is a way to roll back, how do we do the rollback? Okay, so this is very important. You have to make sure that you have a tool to switch on, switch off the new feature, to launch the feature to specific group, not all the users, specific group they test it, or all the users. If this is fine for you, it's fine. We can deliver it to all the users. But you have to control it. You have to control the feature you deliver. You have to control the user will see the features. And again, you have to have a way to roll back. If the change doesn't work out, it has a problem, how do we roll back? How do we go back to the old version? Okay. If you don't have a way to roll back, you will deliver out the feature and then you have to be too quick to deliver a fix if there is any problems. You have to be too quick. Okay. So I think this covered the whole cycle from writing code to up to the production when you push the code to the user. Of course, when you receive feedback, you have any issues, you go back again and then you start to fix bugs. When you are fixing bugs, again, fixing bugs, it will be simple. It's just that you have a problem, report it, you will take it, and then you see how to fix it and push again to go through the same cycle. Okay, the whole key point is you have a lot of stages of checks, but you don't have a QA guy who is responsible or a QA team who is responsible. Can we have a QA? Yes, you can have a QA team. The QA team, mostly they will work on the automation to automate the tests, make sure that the test is cover all the cases. When we have, for example, a bug, we will have to create a new test case for it and so on. We take care of the stress testing, performance testing, things which the users will not tell about. So yeah, they have a rule, but they have a rule somehow advanced, not just testing the functionality. This is something when you are going through this whole cycle, it will be already tested. Okay, another question, is this cycle workout, is it really practical? The answer is yes, it really works out very well, but you have also to have the right team to do it. By the way, in this setup, you must have a full stack teams, cross-functional teams who will test. By the way, maybe in sometimes even the dev team themselves, they put the testers. Okay, they have to be cross-functional teams. They work front end, back end, DevOps, testing. They work on anything because you rely too much on the engineering. You do not rely on a specific role for a specific person. The engineering team, they will be your tester, they will be your DevOps, they will be working on many roles. If you have the right team, it can work out. You have to consider that they have to be seniors because moving to production directly, you have to be a real senior guy and understand the product and so on, so that you can push directly to production without messing up things. If you have the right team, they can do it. Also, if you have the right tools, the tools I explained, they have to be in place. Okay, if they are not set up correctly, you might find some issues when you are delivering. The thing which I see could cause this setup to fail is the data. As I mentioned, data is very critical. Missing up the data is a problem. It's okay to have a crash in the mobile app or the web is not loading. But if the data is messed up, it has a very high cost to be fixed, especially if you have lost data. That's a totally different issue. If you have a data which is lost, again, you must have a backup. You must have a rollback strategy if the data is lost, and you have to consider that if the data is lost, we will be able to return it back. It's not an option on this case. So this is the only thing which I see. It's a real challenging when it comes to data. Maintaining the data, it's a real challenge. I hope this video is useful. I'm sorry it's too long, but I'm just trying. Even this, every point I mention need a lot of details, a lot of discussion, but I don't like to make the video more than that. I'll see you in the next video. Have a night.